Ooh, okay. When I'm DJing, I'll engage with anybody. I'll engage with someone who's kind of standing there and, you know, a little bit shy. I'll point to them, I'll sing to them, and usually they go, oh my God, why is this DJ looking at me? And I'm like, come on, let's do something. And then they start to feel a little free. Yeah. Or I'll engage with someone who is like having a blast and I'm validating them. Yeah. Because, you know, nowadays, like with social media, people get really nervous with dancing and expressing themselves. And so if I can express myself as fully as I can, making the craziest stank faces and just like tossing my fan around, like, and people are watching me and they're recording me, you can do whatever you want. In my house, in my community, you should feel free.
Bridge, thank you for coming over. I'm so glad I stumbled across your Instagram post and reached out. Now you're here, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Corey.
First place I really start with all of my guests is, you know, tell me your origin story of who you are and how you got into DJing and house music.
Great question. Loaded question. So I was born in Italy, and I was born to two Ghanaian parents, and I'm from the Akan tribe as well as the Ashanti tribe. And both of my parents, even though they love two different genres of music, they are obsessed and really do love music. So my mother is more into high life, which is like Ghanaian traditional gospel music.
Okay.
But it's so fulfilling to your soul. It has elements of like jazz, elements of, you know, slight hip hop. My dad loves funk music, disco music. You think Michael Jackson, you think the Whispers. He was a bit more, I would say, modern. My mom was very traditional. And while I lived in Italy, my father would always have vinyls up of all his favorite artists, and he had all these CD cassettes. And I was just obsessed with the sound of music, no pun intended to the movie. I really was obsessed, and I love to dance. And if you saw any of my old videos as a kid, I'm constantly dancing. I'm constantly engaging with people. And my parents were like, oh my God, this girl just doesn't stop. So living in Italy and being so invested in different types of communities, different diverse communities, listening to Italian disco, listening to high life, I really started to learn how you can curate sounds to make your identity feel seen. And we ended up moving to the US when I was around 7, and that opened up my entire eyes as well to what culture and music really meant for me.
Was there constantly music playing in your home growing
Absolutely.
up? Yeah.
If anything, my parents would fight on who gets to play what. You know, either we're playing the traditional gospel music or we're playing like hip hop. My dad, like, he never understood what the lyrics were because English was, you know, it was a new language for us.
Okay.
But he just loved the beats.
Yeah.
So in the mornings when we're cooking and cleaning, it's my mom's traditional gospel. In the afternoon when we're laying and chilling, it's R&B, it's disco. Yeah. And really Michael Jackson was like one of our favorite artists in the entire household. Michael, Janet Jackson, the Whispers, anything correlated to disco and funk, the house was constantly being played with that kind of music.
That's fun. Sounds like a fun home.
No, it was beautiful. It was very beautiful.
I want to get into more of the DJing, but what was the transition like moving to the States from overseas?
You know, we have to remember that in the early 2000s, the US was a very different place. If we think about what's going on now, it's not too far from it, but in the early 2000s, you know, we had Islamophobia, we had 9/11, and so immigration and the concept of immigrants and xenophobia was at an all-time high. So being a African, you know, European immigrant, people didn't look to me and assume that I was an immigrant until I opened my mouth. Because I had an Italian accent, I only spoke Italian, it was my first language. So I had to quickly learn English, I had to quickly learn how to assimilate, which meant I had to quickly learn American culture, I had to quickly learn American gestures. Assimilation was so important in the early 2000s, whereas now, the more different you are, the more languages you know, the cooler you are. But it was a challenge, but it taught me just how to maneuver around like a different culture. And music was a big part of that because I knew that if I could dance around people, if I could say, oh, I know this song, then I was able to feel a bit closer into the community.
And you were already listening to a lot of American artists.
Yes, I did. Absolutely. Absolutely. So. All of the American music always came to Europe. And so we already knew them. Even though I didn't know what they meant, I could sing along to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Then did that help you, you know, learn English and
Yes.
learn more of like, the American dialect
Yes.
and slang. And,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I can't remember the first song that I can visibly remember singing along is Big Pun, that song, I don't want to be a player no more.
Yep.
I'm not a player. That was the first American song I'm listening to. It's 2003. I'm in Fontana. I'm in my dad's car. And I'm just singing Boricua Morena. But I have no idea what that means. I'm not from New York. But I was able to learn like English and just the concept of like, I don't know, sounds in a different way.
Yeah. What happened to get you actually into DJing then?
Yeah, great question. The year is 2005, and I'm on YouTube. Whoa, Gen Z's like, what do you mean? There was barely any YouTube back then.
It was still very new.
It was very new. The first song I actually found on there was This Love by Maroon 5. First time I saw the music video. But that year, I clicked on a song called Change For Me by Arrow. It was remixed by Joey Negro, now known as Dave Lee. That was the first time I ever heard house music. Classic house music, soulful house music. It changed my entire perspective of again, like funk music. And so I only knew it, as disco, as R&B, as pop. I had no idea that house was the baby of disco. And I never heard those chords and those melodies before. So I went on a huge deep dive and ended up discovering like Masters at Work and all these incredible classic house DJs from the 90s and the early 2000s. But I had no idea that it was black music. I had no idea that house music was created by the black community. I just really thought it was like white people's music. What I ended up listening to more was Disclosure. Like I just always loved house music. But what really got me into DJing was 2018. I'm in New York City. I go to Soul Summit for the first time. I see a huge sea of beautiful black and brown people dancing to house music. You can imagine for me as someone who lived in California, who didn't know that house music was black, and they just look so free. They look so free, and I'm seeing these 3 black men DJing. They're orchestrating this entire, and I said, I gotta do what they're doing for the community. How do I make them feel the way that they're making me feel? But I talked about DJing for years, and it was my husband actually who bought me a controller in 2021. He was like, you keep talking about it, here you go. So once I received that controller, I said either I'm gonna be a bedroom DJ or I'm going to make an impact with what I've learned in terms of DJing, the technicality, and how to make people feel seen when I'm DJing.
When did you move to New York? In 2018?
2017.
17, okay, so it was immediately after that.
Yeah.
There is no party like a Soul Summit
No,
party either.
No, absolutely not.
And I know it's evolved a lot, and me bringing that up to you as a cis white male, right? Like I have been to parties of theirs, and they're amazing, right?
Absolutely.
The crowd, and I know you posted this on Instagram too, it has shifted quite a lot, right? So you want to talk about that a little bit and what how that's made you feel and what, I want to go a couple layers deeper, but start there.
Yeah. So to my best knowledge, I think Soul Summit has been putting music, or has been doing their festival since the early 2000s, like 2002, 4 or 5, and I was not even here at the time, but you can look at all the archival footage and videos, and really you're looking at Gen X boomers who were, club kids in the 80s and 90s, and house music has been for everyone, but it really was born out of, the black pioneers as well as Afro-Latinos and Latinas. And what was fascinating for me when I went to Soul Summit for the first time was I was one of the very few people that were under 40 years old. It was impossible to find people that were my age. So for me, when I went to Soul Summit for the first time, I was indebted to the community. I had to learn what it meant to be a part of the house community. There's rules that people don't know about,
etiquette.
There's etiquette, and I had to learn that. I was around the aunties, the uncles, I'd get there early. I learned what it meant to preserve your space. I learned I learned what it meant to accept someone like wanting to dance with you. I learned how to move with the rhythm and the motion of the wind. I learned how to engage in conversation through dancing with someone who I don't know their name. I don't know where they're from. All I know is that they're here because they love house music. I learned how to dress. You know, the way I was dressing before was, it wasn't, I couldn't move easily. So I had to learn how to wear, you know, more like tight clothes, or how to wear like a satchel, or just, you know, if it's about to rain, you don't want to be wearing jeans. You want to be wearing, you know, so I just learned so much from the community. And to me, it was my school. And I always said that every time I went to Soul Summit, I was there to learn, and I was there to understand how to give back to them. That's why a lot of my goal has always been, I have to give back to them. Of course, I think the pandemic changed everything for a lot of things. And, you know, access is challenging when you're throwing free parties versus when you're going to clubs and there's a ticket. Right. Access changes, and who can attend, who can go, who can pay, looks a lot different than when it's a community event. Yeah. And so despite the changes, not just for them, but for any other incredible collectives, I think the power at the end of the day is, who are you servicing, how are you servicing, and how are you keeping the community invested in what you're doing. You
very recently were able to play at a show at Soul Summit at the Knockdown Center.
Yes.
How was that?
Oh, a long time coming.
Yeah.
A long time coming. I will say I worked really, really hard to get that opportunity. It is not easy to, when you're young and when you're a woman, to have the opportunity to play for such a legacy collective. So I feel really, really grateful that after all this time, the timing worked out and I was able to get the opportunity. And who knows, you know, it could have been last year, it could have been the year before, but I firmly believe in like cosmic cycles. And that day that it happened was amazing. Like, it's hard for me to put into words. We have another recap coming. My videographer's making one. But I think for me, what I've noticed is that in my time going to Soul Summit, they rarely have women opening up for them, or women as part of their lineups, at least for their Fort Greene events. So I felt an immense honor to be a young Black woman who loves house music, to be able to welcome the crowd and give them a show. Yeah. Because I've loved house music for so long, and I know how it makes me feel. I want people to feel how I feel. I want them to feel free. I want them to feel lifted. I want them to feel like no one's watching them and they're ascending when they're listening to this music. Yeah. Hence why you see that I'm heavily engaging with the crowd and heavily expressing myself through the music. It's an ancestral calling. So that day was everything put into one, and a long time coming.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Only the beginning too, right?
Only the beginning.
You said it was a long journey.
Yeah.
Take me through that journey.
It really started first with making sure that I knew how to DJ. That's the first thing. The technicality, step one, learn how to DJ. The technicality was really challenging, just because learning how to use your fingers and learning how to listen to music. I mean, it's just like learning a new instrument. So that was hard, one. Two, what wasn't hard was getting all the music. I had YouTube saves, I had Spotify, all this stuff. So it was easy to kind of curate the sound that I wanted. But the challenging part with anything is networking. And it's trying to prove yourself in an industry that is already so predominantly like supports men. And, you know, right now, women DJs are having to come up. The dolls are having to come up, you know, but it's still hard. Misogyny and sexism prevails within, you know, the DJ industry. And so it's challenging if you don't have people kind of lifting you up and supporting you. And so I do have a mentor, and I had other DJ friends who were kind of supporting me through that process of like, okay, you need to go give a mix. So that's what I did. I'd make mixes. If that didn't work, I would watch them DJ. I would take in consideration, how are they mixing? What's the crowd doing? So I was learning. I would send more mixes. And while I was doing that, I was also, you know, throwing on my own parties and working with other collectives to just build my presence, build my brand. I think when you get to a point where your impact is so noticeable, people are going to want to work with you. Yeah. I think that's what it took. It just took a lot more work, I would say, than like if a man was in my position. But it just means that when I'm working and when I'm DJing, I'm working 3 times, 4 times harder, and you see that. And I think people leave with a form of gratitude for the time that they spent with me. So I'm grateful, but it was challenging, not to say the least.
It sounds like you use that I need to work harder than a man in my position mindset to your advantage in a way. And obviously it's not equal playing field. I mean, if you look at the numbers, like the stats don't lie. How do you take that and use that as more motivation than discouragement?
Okay, you know Beyonce. Have you ever watched any of her documentaries? She says that the one thing she loves the most before she gets on stage is someone to piss her off. If someone pisses her off, then she's going to have a great show. Because she has all this energy.
Write that down. Piss Bridget off before next show. No. I'm joking.
Yeah, no, you try. Let's see. But there's a color that I feel whenever I feel discouraged, and it's red. It's just a bunch of rage. And it's not rage against anyone. It's rage on, okay, I know that I feel so passionate about this, I have to do something. If I don't, then I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to complain and whine, and who has time for that?
Right.
You need to use that frustration, rage, confusion, curiosity, and create art with it. And so whenever I hit a blocker or I hit a no, I'm going to redirect. I'm going to redirect really hard. And you're going to want to work with me after, because I'm determined to not just make a name for myself. That I've made my name in different ways. I'm determined to give back to the community, and I'm determined to help people feel free when they're listening to house music. I'm determined to be a Black woman DJing house music, and I'm determined to remind people that yes, we have to work hard, but some of us are just better. Oops, I said it.
I mean, you're allowed to.
Yes, we work hard enough where some of us are better.
It took, let's say, roughly 3.5, 4 years from when your now husband got you a controller.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where you're like, all right, I got this?
No, there was not a moment. I have to thank my friend Paris, who at the time had like a DJ residency at this bar that I lived by. He goes, you need to DJ. Like in front of a crowd. I said, no, I'm not ready. He was like, you will never be ready.
Yep.
He's like, you need to DJ this Saturday. I'm going to give you a 15-minute slot. Which, by the way, that's not a lot of time.
It's like 3
songs.
Like 3 songs,
yeah. But you have no idea. I practiced those 3 songs for like a week.
Those transitions were immaculate.
Yes, they were immaculate. I was like, I have to get this right. Everyone's gonna think I'm like a failure. And oh my gosh, you couldn't hear shit. You couldn't. The actual bar didn't have a speaker. No, you couldn't hear anything. I mean, if you went to the bathroom,
it was good practice, I guess.
It was fabulous practice. Right. There's a video of me where I'm slowly moving because I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I did the transitions. I ended up doing 2 more songs.
Okay.
I said, wait a minute, this reminds me so much of when I was in theater. I did theater for 15 years. I love the stage. The stage is my home. I always say that whenever I'm on a stage, I am back where I'm supposed to be. And so not having had done theater for about 4 or 5 years at the time, being back on a stage, a bar in Williamsburg, was astronomical for me. It made me realize, I can do this. Yeah. This is just another stage, but a different medium. And that was the first moment where I said, okay, maybe I can do this. But there was never a moment I was never going to get there by myself. I needed a push, and I really appreciate Paris for doing that.
Shout out.
Shout out.
So you mentioned Paris. Were there any other key influences or mentors that you had getting started?
Yeah, great question. So at the time, Paris and myself were also playing with Tyler from Where. So we were curating really incredible parties, and I was learning a lot about the business of booking. So that's really where I think that was a natural inclination for me, was I learned like booking and communicating with bookers. It ain't an easy job, let me tell you. No. I still do it to this day. Cold emailing, cold calling, it's humbling. But I learned that, and then I started working with another DJ collective called Powerhouse, which was myself, Andrew Wilkes, known as Wolf Spritzer, and then Mark Orphy, known as Cram. And shout out to them. They taught me how to be a better house DJ. Okay. They are so technical. I say we're nerds. They really, really helped me just clean up a lot of my sound. My mentor is DJ Cassidy Locke. He's been DJing in New York for 20 so years. he really helps me with grounding myself because I don't know all the ins and outs of the DJ community and, like the OGs. And so he's really helpful with like helping me go, okay, this person's really helpful. Okay, this person, try to talk to them this way. And as you've noticed, they're all men, right? Yeah. It's the nature of the game, but I learn a lot. In terms of women DJs, as I mentioned, there is a come up. The 3 to 4 women DJs that I was inspired by in like 2018 when I was a party goer, a dancer, still a dancer, were DJ Tara, Natasha Diggs, Kitty Sayward, Kiana Parks. And at the time, like they had been DJing for a while at this point, and all of them were doing like house or hip hop. And it was just incredible to see how they grew their community from, I would say, a very challenging point. Like now we have social media, so we've all grown our following at a pace. But I was really inspired by seeing them because we rarely saw women DJs at that time. Now we're seeing them everywhere, which is incredible. But yeah, there's been a slew of people that I've been grateful to learn from in terms of technicality, learn from in terms of mentorship, and learn in terms of inspiration.
So you feel like they've all helped you kind of evolve or shape or fine-tune your craft and your sound?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm curious, how would you describe your style and your sound?
Ooh, okay. So I love to play uplifting house music, uplifting vocal house music.
Okay.
It's rare that you'll listen to a set of mine and you won't hear words. I love to sing, and so a lot of the music I like to DJ, I'm emulating my own experience singing. And when you come to my set, the one thing I say is that you are going to leave feeling more free than you did before. The music I play, they all have messages. They are truly uplifting, which plug my party, Uplifted NYC, but it's just incredible. So a lot of the vocals I play are Barbara Tucker, Kim English, Martha Wash, La India. I mean, these vocal powerhouses. It's so inspiring. I like to play gospel tracks as well. I was born a Catholic, literally like baptized in the cathedral. I'm no longer a practicing Catholic, but I still do love gospel music. Of course, as I mentioned, like my mom loved traditional gospel music, but the music I play is just about you feeling good. And I always say I play for the girls and the gays, so they are my first priority. If they feel good, then I feel good, and then everyone else is after.
I can't tell you how many times I've talked with somebody about this and heard somebody say, like, if the girls in particular, I'm not taking out gays, but if the girls aren't dancing, you're not doing it right.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not doing it right. Yep, exactly. And I love to engage with people who are actually, when I'm DJing, I'll engage with anybody. I'll engage with someone who's kind of standing there and, a little bit shy. I'll point to them, I'll sing to them, and usually they go, "Oh my God, why is this DJ looking at me?" And I'm like, "Come on, let's do something." And then they start to feel a little free. Or I'll engage with someone who is like having a blast and I'm validating them. Because, nowadays, like with social media, people get really nervous with dancing and expressing themselves. And so if I can express myself as fully as I can, making the craziest stank faces and just like tossing my fan around, like and people are watching me and they're recording me, you can do whatever you want. In my house, in my like community, you can do whatever you want. You should feel free.
It really is, a space that is supposed to be liberating, right? Like the dance floor in a house music setting, that's, I think where it originated, truly with the Black community and the queer community.
Yes.
But also, where I think a lot of people still gravitate towards, right? And I think that, there's a lot of upside of technology and social media, but this is one of those things where, if I don't like coming across a video of somebody just letting loose and having a great time on the dance floor, and then because it causes reservation for other people, right? Because it's like, oh, I don't want to be that person. But I tell you, one of the best parties that I went to, there wasn't a strict no phone policy, but it was just the etiquette, and it was just this unwritten rule of don't take your phone out.
Yes.
And it was so great because people were doing the silliest stuff.
Yes.
And nobody cared.
Yes.
And that was the best.
Absolutely. Yeah. Elsewhere is doing that. House of Yes is doing that. Nowadays has always had a no phone policy on their dance floor. I think it's incredible. It's helping.
Right, First also, right?
Yes, exactly. It's helping shift the paradigm. I still believe that like video and archival footage is important, right? That's how we know so many of the DJs and dancers from like Paradise Garage or Studio 54, you know, but it just wasn't as an abundance, right? Not everyone had their phone and cameras out.
Right.
But it's incredible because now people, when they are in these spaces, they can feel a bit more free and just not nervous of someone else catching them. Because why? You're gonna go viral. You're gonna go viral because you did something weird, or but it's not even weird. It's like you expressing yourself. You know, a lot of that also just comes from like personal confidence. I know that if someone records me when I'm dancing, I don't care.
Right.
Put it on social media. I want people to see that I feel so confident in myself and I feel free. But not everybody wants that. Not everybody wants to be recorded against their consent, you know?
That's a nice attitude to have, though, really. It's like, you know what? I'm going to do me no matter what.
Yeah. I was born alone, I'm going to die alone, girl. Like, life is too short.
That's true. That's true. I'm curious, you know, I obviously have had some challenges you've had to overcome just because of the nature of the industry.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are a woman minority in the industry. What's been the biggest challenge out of all of that for you?
I think the biggest challenge for me when I started, honestly, was just booking.
Okay.
I didn't really know how to do it. When I started DJing, I had friends who had DJ at like hotels, and that's how I envisioned DJing. Was like, oh, you get to like play at the Standard, and you know, I wasn't really thinking like club DJ. That wasn't my aspiration, or at least that's not what I thought I could do. So when I started DJing, I was trying to book like these hotel gigs, and my mentor was like, you're better than that. You should be trying to book something like throw a party. I said, okay, well, how do I get the information of a booker? And he'll be like, I don't know, you know, because he's doing hotel stuff. And it was a lot of heavy lifting of, okay, maybe I need to email the venue. Okay, maybe I need to find someone who works at the venue. Okay, maybe I need to DM them. Okay, maybe they might get back to me. Okay, I need a mix. Okay, well, I need a social media platform. And I felt like I was doing a lot of work versus like some male DJs just had to tell their friends like, yo, I want to DJ at this place. And they just got it. It's a male's club. And so I felt like I was working insanely hard for like, air quotes, basic gigs, but I took every gig possible. I was DJing so much because I needed the practice. I needed to get my face out there. I needed to figure out what my style was, you know? When I was DJing 2-3 years ago, I was very much on a street style, because that's what I thought women DJs were supposed to like dress like a man, or like dress like more street, more mask. Girl, bye. I love the feminine. I love the ponytail. Like, but it took me a lot of like interesting, weird gigs to get there.
Sure.
But I mean, to this day, still, I think like, you know, I have aspirations for certain places I want to play. And it's a little hard to get there if you don't know someone, or if someone doesn't know you through someone else. But perseverance always works. Hard work always is rewarded. So I'm confident that the more that I continue to play and put myself out there and market myself, and that's the thing, I'm a marketer. That's my day job. So I know how to market myself. I know how to work with a team to present myself in a way that might make bookers go, oh, she's interesting. Now I want to hear her sound. Because when I started booking, I thought the most important thing was how you sounded. That's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about your scale. It's supposed to be about your music curation. So my sets were immaculate to the T. I mean, my mentor was like, man, girl, what are you doing with these transitions? They're so good. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what I was playing. It didn't matter that I knew the history of house music. It didn't matter. All it mattered was how I was presenting myself. And that was very frustrating to me because I'm a Black woman. So at the end of the day, you're going to kind of turn like a blind eye to me first. Or you might think I play hip hop. Girl, another situation that was so frustrating was a lot of bookers were like, are you sure you don't play hip hop? Are you sure you can't play hip hop? Really? Oh yeah. I got a lot of please play hip hop. And I said, no, I'm a house DJ, which was really weird back in 2021, 2022 when I started. I was like, am I supposed to be a hip hop DJ? But I was like, no, isn't house music is Black? And So the challenges have always been, in the beginning, was the perception of what kind of a DJ am I supposed to be? How do I get booked? And then now I think the challenge has been more like, okay, how do I continue to market myself so that I get more opportunities? Because the sound shouldn't be second.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we are at a time and place where it is.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be.
You really do have to have a brand as well as the skill to actually really make it nowadays, right? Aside from that, how can, and this is really, I want to just open this conversation up with you about, me being a white man. I don't necessarily book artists for anything other than this show, but for like club gigs and whatnot. But how can men, and particularly white men, support women, and particularly minority women? In this industry?
Ooh, another loaded question, which I'll preface, I don't have the full answer to.
That's okay.
But I will.
But I want to open the conversation up with you. I really do, because I think it's valuable information.
Yes, absolutely. Right? I'm going to suggest a couple of different things I've learned from people. So the first thing that I believe bookers should be doing, especially if you are, a white cisgender man, is y'all got to do some research. There's a thing where I'm noticing that certain bookers are just booking the same people. They're booking their same friends, and they all look the same. Either someone's not going out and searching for new talent, or you don't want to. And the talent is there. I think that's the issue, is that some people will say like, oh, we can't find like, a black queer person or a black trans man or a Latino. They're out there. You're just not doing the research. And that's simple as that. So the first thing is going out, looking for these DJs, looking for these producers that are just, changing the game. And as we know, Black people, queer people, we are the trendsetters, right? And so if you are booking people that are tastemakers, your entire party is going to change, right? The club itself or the venue is going to start bringing in different types of people, different types of sounds. And I do think that's important from a booking perspective. Now, I also get that it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. And so I also think that it's important that we support some of these DJs and artists. Sometimes the conversation is, oh, well, if we book someone, they're not going to bring people. We haven't given them a shot yet, Is there something that we can help them? Can we put them on a lineup with another like incredible headliner that's maybe like POC, Black, queer? I just think that some bookers need to do a better job of like really looking for talent that is different than what they're constantly booking. The second thing is, and DJ Tara actually brought this up recently in her interview that she did, was there are a lot of amazing like Black, POC, and queer DJs and event planners that are putting on sick parties that are selling out, that are just like, think like Poppy Juice, like these are incredible parties, and yet these event planners, these DJs, they don't have stake in like the company. And I thought it was a really fascinating point that she brought up. Like, can you incentivize, like, can you give these DJs, these event producers, part of like the business? It incentivizes them. Thought that was fabulous. Another point that she brought up was, can we see more Black and brown and queer DJs like opening up their own spaces? But that's really, really hard.
That's hard.
It's incredible. Millions and millions and millions of dollars investing, like, and that doesn't come easy, especially when you're looking at loans for the Black community.
Look at how many spaces shut down every year too, right?
Exactly.
Even with big backing.
Exactly. Brooklyn Mirage.
That's a whole different
conversation. Yes. And so it's a lot. It's a loaded question, but I think what I would love is that I think if you have the position to be a booker, you gotta go out and look for new DJs. I've been very thankful that I've had a couple of bookers who actually saw me at a different event. They were coming, they were like, yo, you're really dope, I want to connect with you. And they put me on to like different bookings. Or I was lucky enough to be connected with Anna Collecta from Hot Honey, Hot Honey Sundays. And she does the booking for Dead Letter. And I'm so thankful that she gave me an opportunity to be a resident DJ for Dead Letter.
Love that space
and like,
too.
It was fabulous. I was just there last night, woo, till 3 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and so
in the back room.
In the back room, the cargo room.
I love that room.
It's so sick. Well, the guy who does the sound and lighting,
it's so good.
He's insane.
So good.
He's incredible. It made those 3 hours pass by like nothing.
Yeah.
But it's people, you know, like Anna Collecta and other different bookers and even DJs like Muscle Cars. I've worked with Muscle Cars or DJ Shannon who have been able to put me on. But as you've noticed, all those have been either people of color or women, right? Like we need more white men who are recognizing that they have a privilege, they have the space to put people up. And I'm very thankful for all the bookers who've seen me, Ariana from elsewhere, who've really given me the opportunity to like be lifted up. Yeah. The other portion that I think it's important to think about is there's also a conversation about how if there are more women producing, that they will also get more opportunities to DJ, which I think is actually a thought that I never thought about before. Then the concept goes back to there are women producing, but how come they're not being put on too? So it's like a whole thing where there are women DJs, but there aren't enough being put on lineups. It's a lot of it is just like digging and finding these people and lifting them up when you have the privilege to do so.
Yeah. Have you thought about producing?
Oh God. I'm constantly being like poached to produce. I want to be mindful that being a producer and being a DJ are two different jobs.
They are.
Right?
Yeah.
And I love performing. I love music. I love engaging with the crowd. I want that to be my priority. I want to make sure that I am serving the community through my music, through my selections. That is my priority. And so I really want to make sure that like when I'm DJing, I'm DJing. In terms of producing, I'm a great creative director. I'm fabulous when it comes to do this, do that. I'm a big picture kind of girl. So I would be open to like co-producing or working with producers on creating stuff that is similar to what I like to play out to. But I necessarily wouldn't want to just produce, especially because I'm going to bring up my wonderful favorite artist, Kaytranada. If y'all remember, Kaytranada started as a producer, bedroom producer, you know, SoundCloud days. And I saw him 2015 in LA. There was 100 people. I'm forgetting where the place was, but it was in LA. It was 100 people. Kaytranada had his laptop and a like LED, you know, screen. It said Kaytranada and had balloons. It was like right before 99.9% came out. Okay. This man was in a hoodie, in his glasses. He was hiding behind the screen because he knew I'm just here to produce. Yeah. I just want the music to be out there, but they're telling me I gotta be on stage. You know, and I remember seeing him and going, wow, like he's not uncomfortable, but he would rather just have someone else play his music. Of course, I think, you know, as time has moved on, he's a lot more comfortable on stage and he's, you know, he's a fabulous DJ in terms of performing, right? Because I think his music, his production is really what holds him. And now he's also become a performer, right? He's become, secondly, he's like a DJ, but he started off as a producer. Yeah. Some of us start off as DJ performers. Maybe we'll go into producing. But I love like curating for the community. I love like, I'm sure you see my videos. I love like coming up with like my outfits and my ponytails are going to be 16 inches or 22 inches today. What color is my fan?
Yeah, like it's a show. It's a performance.
Yeah. And like producing, like that's a job, and it's a very, very good job, and it's a job in terms of like you want to know what you're doing. And so what I like to do with DJing is I like to uplift other producers if I can. So I'm constantly tagging them, connecting with them. Like, you got anything else you want me to do? Any bootleg, any unreleased stuff? I will highlight producers as much as I can, but we will see if I ever get into producing.
Yeah, it's that's always it's an interesting one, right? Because a lot of really big acts, or, you know, we'll say festival DJs, beyond just like a club DJ, get to that level because they were producers first, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, when you have music that is recognizable, people are going to want to come for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference between a club DJ. People just know you for your sound. They don't know you for the song you've created.
Right.
You know?
It's a lot of why there's so many phones on the dance floor now, right? Because people want a snippet of the DJ producer playing the song that they made, that they know, right? So it's like, interesting.
Yes,
you know,
that's a good point. I just made a video about how the role of a DJ is to introduce the community to new music or different ways to listen to music. And I love going to DJ sets from my fellow DJ friends and being like, oh, girl, what is this song?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to Shazam it. It may not come through, so I might have to go take a picture of the ID. But wow, this is a new song or a new remix or a new flip of the song I heard. It's like, it just opens up like my brain.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's the whole point of music. It's connecting, it's community, it's to learn. And so I do find that, you know, where we are now, people like you said, they want to just listen to the song that they know. You know, I was DJing recently and I played a remix version of Diana Ross' I'm Coming Out by Maurice Joshua.
Okay.
Fabulous remix.
Okay.
It's like, oh, it's so good.
Oh, send it to me.
I will. And the crowd kept singing like, I'm coming out. But then it would cut because it's a remix. And they were looking at me like kind of confused. And I'm like, that's the whole point.
Right.
I'm trying to introduce you to a new way of hearing a favorite song.
Right.
And I want to introduce you to a producer that you may not know about, you know? It's all about kind of, what did someone say? Like, mixing in medicine and food they don't like, something like that. But like, you know, like yeah. So
that's funny. Like a little bit of sugar in the cough medicine, right?
Yes, exactly.
Is there any artist that's really caught your ear lately that surprised you?
Ooh, okay. In terms of, I'm gonna say a DJ that I've been really inspired by, Armana Khan. She calls herself the Pakistani princess. She is a trans woman who plays a lot of like Southeast Asian music, like hip hop. She'll do a lot of like mashups with like Pakistani music, but it's not even just her mixing; it's her style.
Okay.
Armana Khan, if you're watching this, girl, I got a DJ with you. She is electrifying.
Nice.
Oh my God. Talk about epitome of freedom when it comes to expressing yourself. And I think she just got into DJing like a year or two ago. She's like 40 and she's fabulous. And I love the community that she's building. And so I do look to her as like inspiration because I'm thinking, wow, you're unapologetically yourself. You are gorgeous. And you are fighting against all of these isms against you. And you're just rising up. So Armana Khan, great inspiration. I look up to her, and I think whenever I'm DJing and I'm feeling insecure, I'm like, what would Armana Khan do? She would shake her ass.
There you go.
Let me shake my ass.
I love that. So what are your aspirations for DJing?
I've always said, and I still continue to believe, that I truly want to be respected as a house DJ. That is my aspiration. If you are respected, then the sky's the limit, you know? People will come to you to curate an event. People will come to you to collaborate. People will come to you because you are part of that community. The house community is small, especially when you're looking at like Black DJs. And so I truly just want to be respected for my craft. I want to be respected for my intention. I want to be respected for my curation. And honestly, I just want to play in venues that have 6 sound systems.
Right.
Because, you know, there's nothing better than being in a room and just hearing your music play. Mm-hmm. I want to continue to expand my community. I want to, like I said, I want to keep making people feel free and feel more like themselves. The more I DJ and the more I tap into who I really am, the more I want people to go, oh my goodness, I'm also feeling inspired to do what I said I was going to do, or to try to do what Bridget is doing. And so I just really want to be respected and play at really great sound system venues.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, I've really enjoyed this conversation so far. I have a few more questions for you. You know, one of the places, the place where I discovered you was Instagram.
Yes.
And I checked out the rest of your content, and I know you said you're a marketer, you understand how important it is. You talk about some really, really great topics, some things that I think need to be addressed a little bit more, which is part of, I mean, one of the big reasons why, you know, I wanted to have a conversation with you today. But you also, I mean, you exude confidence when you're on stage, you exude confidence even behind the camera. Has that always been natural for you? Or like, you know, are there any tips you can give somebody who's maybe a little shy about posting on Instagram?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, I've always loved the internet.
Okay.
Ask my dad. Like, I loved the internet. I was always on like MySpace and weird chat rooms just because I was like, oh, I want to be out there and have fun. I'm an extrovert. through and through. So I do feel very blessed that I naturally love talking to people. I love the camera. If I see a camera, I'm always like posing for it. Like my dad just like took a bunch of photos of me as a kid. So I got really comfortable just being around a camera. But when it comes to social media, look, I'm not gonna lie. It took me a minute to get to where you're seeing with all the content. And I have to give thanks to my sister, my Gen Z sister, and my friend Brooks, because they both were like, girl, you just gotta post. And I said, what do you mean? I had been so used to posting like on Instagram, right? I'm a millennial. I was posting on Instagram, I was posting on Facebook, I was posting on MySpace. And MySpace and Facebook were like less curated. You know, you just posted whatever, like your 100 photos in your album. Yeah. But I got so used to posting on Instagram, and it's just so curated, right? Like to the T. And when TikTok started to become a thing, obviously I was engaging, I was a viewer, and I would like shit post once in a while, but it wouldn't go anywhere. And my sister was like, you just need to start posting. Just post. So then what I realized was on TikTok, don't nobody know who I am. Nobody knows who I am on TikTok. Instagram, yeah, I got people that know me. So I just started posting. Like, I know it sounds really weird, but the more and more that you just like put your camera on your face and you just say the things you want to say and you just let it do its own thing, the easier it's going to become. One of the first videos I made was a 10-minute video. I think I like talked for an hour. I'm obviously a yapper. You've noticed that. I had to cut that hour down to 10 minutes. Oh my gosh. Still was so long. It took me...
For TikTok?
I know. I'm better now. Now you see I'm doing like 1.5 minutes. That was my first time like making my own video. And I said, man, no one's watching this. No one did watch it. They did on Instagram, but no one watched it on TikTok. What I'm trying to say was it took me multiple tries to figure out what is my sound, what is my voice, how do I emulate what people are doing. And a tip I can give for someone who is shy is, I promise you, no one cares about the way your eyes look or your teeth look or how you sound more than you. People don't. People just want to feel like they can relate to you. Yep. That's all that it is. And I do get nervous when I post on Instagram specifically. Like I said, TikTok, I should post. I do the craziest things on there. Like, I went crazy viral 2 years ago because I accidentally started the solar eclipse. Okay, anyway.
Whoops.
Yeah, New York Post came after me and everything. It was crazy. But I was like, no, it was crazy.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, good. You don't have to see it. I kind of hit it. But, like, I just did the craziest stuff on there, and it taught me,
sorry, back up. We gotta back up. Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, I did. I know. I hate that me and 45 have the same thing in common. It's really frustrating. Yes,
you can still see though. Everything's good.
I have like a small blind spot on my left eye actually because of that. Yeah. Wow. Don't look at the solar eclipse.
Okay, so they weren't lying.
No, they were not. Yeah, but I posted a video about it because people were like, someone talked about solar eclipse, and I said, okay, mind you, I had 800 followers on TikTok. Now I have 32,000. But I was like, okay, guys, just letting you know, don't look at the solar eclipse. Like, I'm kind of blind on my left eye a little bit. Shit went viral.
Oh my gosh.
Like 3 million plays, New York Post, the fucking local news was calling me.
Oh my gosh.
It's the whole thing. And I said, well, if I'm going viral for that, then like I can go viral for anything. Yeah. And so that taught me that if I just post stuff more correlated to like what I care about, so like music, plans, culture,
not solar eclipse.
Not solar eclipse, yeah, that people can feel more relatable. And so I'm thankful that it's starting to get traction now. But like I said, the stuff I post about DJing and music, it's a little challenging. I'm a woman at the end of the day, and a lot of the people who engage in my content with DJing on Instagram are men. So I'm always a little nervous because misogyny and sexism can play out at times, but I enjoy it. I love it. I'm thankful that you feel called to it. A lot of people send me messages and go, thank you for saying that. And I'm like, ooh, okay, thank God.
Yeah, no, it's a big risk. I mean, you're so vulnerable, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate what you talk about for sure. Speaking of social media, where can people find you and follow all your amazing content?
Yes, I am on Instagram at I am Bridget with 2 E's. Someone stole I am Bridget with 1 E. Okay, no. I'm sorry.
One day we'll get it.
One day, I'm at I am Bridget on all social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, SoundCloud, X. You can find me on all of those platforms.
Well, Bridge, it's been so wonderful having you. One last thing, any upcoming shows, gigs, events that you want to share that you have coming up in the next few months here?
Yes, so in a couple of weeks, I'm opening up for Soul Summit again.
Oh, yeah.
For House of Yes, nice. For their block party. Shout out to David Kiss. I have my residency at Dead Letter, so I'm playing again in October as well as November. And yeah, all my other shows or events are on my Instagram. Oh, and one final plug. I throw Uplifted, which is my party about uplifted house music, and I always like to highlight Black artists. We threw our first one at Industry City last month, August 1st. I'm hoping to do a residency for that as well, so keep a lookout for that.
Awesome. Well, we certainly will, and I look forward to it, and I look forward to hearing your set
Yay!
Coming up here soon. Thanks so much
you.
For coming on.
Oh, thanks, Corey.
This road we're on shows a dark destiny.
Thanks for listening to that latest interview on Tiny Table Radio. It would help a lot if you hit that subscribe button now so I can bring on more guests and keep this show going. So hit that subscribe button now, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the set.